Welcome back. Coming out a little bit later on this morning are these job numbers that a lot of people have been watching, and a lot of people know that they are going to be bleak considering what we've been going through with COVID-19. Let's bring in Mike Eppel, standing by with, it's not going to be a surprise, but it's still going to be, how do we even describe it? It's going to be horrible to see, to be honest.
Historic. Look, we're looking, good morning, Melanie. We're looking at some of the worst jobs numbers since the end of World War II, and maybe even dating back to the Great Depression era. It's a guesstimate at this point, but we know it's going to be in the millions on both sides of the border. 2 to 4 million Canadians expected to be in the unemployment ranks for the month of April, which will be the first full month of economic data in the midst of the pandemic shutdown. Unemployment rate, 10, maybe 15%. In the United States, 20 million Americans unemployed. Unemployment rate estimated at 16%. You've gone from, before the economic shutdown of an American unemployment rate that was at a 50-year low to levels not seen in recent memory. So, we're basing all of this on the precursor data, all of the people filing for unemployment benefits in the United States. Here in Canada, the emergency wage subsidy programs, they're in the millions, and that's what we're going to see this morning. What's interesting, though, on the flip side, is how the markets have performed, Melanie. We've got the Dow futures. I just looked. It's up 300 points, and the NASDAQ is higher for the year. So the disconnect between the stocks, the benchmarks, and the current economy are front and center, but markets look forward, and they see the restart of the economy weeks, if not months ahead.
So that announcement around 8:30, so hopefully we'll check back in with you and get your reaction to that. I want to move to the announcement that came out later in the morning yesterday, and this was Sidewalk Labs pulling out of their Quayside project here in Toronto. And if it sounds familiar, it's because we've been talking about it for years, and maybe that's the problem.
Well, anytime you have to explain to people what something is about ad nauseum and they still don't understand it, or say, wait a second, is that a good idea to begin with? The pushback against Sidewalk Labs was all of the data accumulation, but that was the whole reason that Google Alphabet was interested in doing it. They wanted to track patterns, how people go about their daily lives, whether it is just the movement of traffic or transit or all of this stuff that you might kind of say, do I really want people to know all of that all the time, and how secure is that data? Well, you combine that with an economic downturn, plus the fact that, the original project was so big, then it was pulled back, and the communication between the developers and the city and proponents and then people who were against it, it all came to a confluence of events, and then you've got the economic downturn, and they're saying, yeah, that's going to be a no-go at this point, and now you've got all this land still sitting on Queens Quay, sitting vacant. And probably going to be like that for a while. And that is a big blow to the development project, right?
Yeah, indeed it is. Absolutely. I want to talk about Uber, some massive losses for them as well.
Yeah, what's interesting about Uber is the fact that they're starting to see a pickup in ride-hailing activity, and Uber Eats has seen a big increase in activity as well. So Uber lost about $3 billion or close to it in its latest quarter, but they're starting to project forward again, changing trends, patterns, and they say the worst may be over. And they're actually looking at profitability in future quarters. So again, not the here and now necessarily, but the go forward for companies, lifting to a little bit of positive sentiment, we'll say, in the morning.
How about this for positivity? Disneyland, one of the happiest places on earth. Shanghai Disneyland, we know, set to reopen, and already a lot of people getting excited about that.
Okay, they're going to have a third of the daily capacity. That's the first thing, because they have to space people out. So there's still going to be social distancing at Disney parks. At the same time, however, when tickets went on sale yesterday, the reopening day on Monday of next week sold out in 3 minutes, and for the entire week sold out in less than an hour. So, people want to get back to as normal as things could be right now, and maybe Disneyland, like I say, happiest place on earth, is a template of what we might see in the future. There's also talk that some of the Disney properties in Florida, because in the United States they're reopening businesses. That could happen late July, which would actually be sooner than some thought. But again, they're going to use this maybe as a way to base a lot of businesses, not just Disney, but how we're going to exist in the near term until there is more resolution on the COVID-19.
Definitely some key learnings there, and
Yep.
Disney they do things right. So
they know how to move people around, don't they? Right,
Yeah.
and keep you entertained while you're waiting.
Absolutely.
To get on those rides.
All right, Mike. Thank you for that, and happy Friday to you.
Same to you. We'll talk to you in a bit.
You got it.